The BUV Support Hub exists to serve, support and resource our union of churches. So we've developed a vision and a strategy to help us actually do that. Our vision is to be a union of flourishing churches with Christ-like disciples who redeem society. Now that needs a little bit of explaining, a little bit of unpacking. When we talk about having a vision of being a union of flourishing churches, we're talking about all churches in all locations. We want your church to be kicking goals. We want your church to be bearing fruit. We want your church to be really having a great impact as the people of God in the area in which God has placed you. We want you to thrive and flourish. And when we talk about having Christ-like disciples filling our churches, we're talking about being a church filled with people who are walking in the ways of Jesus. People who are embodying the traits of Christ: servanthood, love, compassion, mercy, justice, just to name a few of these traits of disciples. And then, of course, we want you to be redeeming society. Now, when we talk about redeeming society, we know that that is the work of God. God is active redeeming the world through His Spirit. But of course, He invites us to partner with Him in this task. He doesn't invite us to be sort of passengers on the train. He invites us to participate with His redeeming work so that we can have an impact in our communities and so that we can transform society. That's our vision, to be a union of flourishing churches with Christ-like disciples who are redeeming society. Now we have a strategy to help us fulfill this vision mandate. And that strategy has 4 pillars. It is the pillar of leadership, of relationship, of health, and mission. We have each year various priorities and goals and objectives that we want to pursue in order to make sure that our strategy is actually being played out in the life of our churches and our community. We want to develop leaders. We want to nurture leaders. We want to make sure that we have strong relationships so that we have a strong association. We want to make sure that we have a priority of mission in all that we're doing. And so there's our strategy, and we develop goals and objectives in relation to those each year. In addition to our pillars, we have some lenses that we put on from time to time to help us interpret our pillars, to help us sort of focus in on the priorities that we have under each one of those areas. Those lenses that we put on are the digital lens, the cultural lens, the innovation lens, and the younger demographic lens. And the reason we have these lenses is because we know that we need to come at leadership and relationship and health and mission from different angles in order to serve the various diverse groups that make up the Baptist Union of Victoria. 2020 with the pandemic just thrust us into the digital age. And so we need to make sure that we're up to speed digitally when it comes to leadership development and nurturing our leaders. We need to make sure that we can use the digital aids that we have to build relationship and to serve our mission, and to make sure that we can help churches be strong and healthy. When it comes to a younger demographic, you develop younger leaders differently than you develop older leaders. The nurture that you need to give older leaders is a little bit different to the nurture that we give younger leaders, and so on. And the same is true when it comes to the cultural lens. So many different cultures in BUV life. And if we have a one-dimension way of looking at the various key pillars, the leadership, relationship, mission, and health, then we're going to miss the mark a fair bit. And of course, we want to innovate. We want to add value through some changes that we make in order to continue to engage with the community in relevant and real ways. That's our strategy, and there's our lenses. The key question we've been wrestling with is, how do we know our strategy is working? How do we know that we are resourcing the right areas? One way is to tell stories. And we're encouraging you to share your good news stories, stories of transformation, hope, impact, and love. Another way is for our churches to engage in some theological and self-reflection. This is why we've come up with the Flourishing Church framework, which is a collection of various indicators of vitality in church life. The idea behind this framework is that each church leadership team would annually sit down and reflect on how they are going against the framework. We ask that you rank yourself from a rating of low to the fullest extent and test your ranking by sharing a story that backs up your score. and adjust that ranking if necessary. You may say, well, what's in this for me or my church? Well, we all have aspirations to stop and reflect. Some of us have New Year's resolutions, but many of us don't carry these out because we don't have a process guiding us or boundaries to help us achieve them. This survey will provide your church with an annual review process. Now, some of you may already have other processes which address these issues, and therefore it won't take you long to fill this one in. By taking on this survey, completing it, and sending it into the BUV, it will not only give you the chance to stop and reflect with your team, but also it will enable you to see if there are any areas for which you need or want assistance from either the BUV Support Hub, one of our agencies, or another church which is flourishing in that particular area. So send your ranking into the BUV Hub, which allow us to do two things. Connect you either with some of our BUV Support Hub services or another church who may be able to assist you in areas you need help. Allow the BUV to analyse the data from all churches and target our strategy a little more accurately. Thanks a lot and God bless.